Very pleased to say the former Justice Minister and, of course, Rishi Sunak supporter Victoria Atkins joins us on the programme. Ms Atkins, lovely to see you. First things first, can we get a guarantee that we're not all going to be back here in a few months' time electing another Conservative leader and Prime Minister?
Yes, because having seen the reception that Rishi got yesterday in the 1922 committee meeting, which is when we all get together as members of Parliament to debate the great issues of the day, the reception Rishi got from across the party was so inspiring to see and also so comforting. When you look at the range of supporters across the party, I think we have a real chance here of uniting. And the reason we want to unite is because we realise the very, very grave issues facing the country.
Indeed.
And all of us, whatever side of the party we come from, all of us want to unite, to work together to deliver for our country and our constituents.
With respect, that's exactly what Liz Truss supporters told me 7 weeks ago today.
Well, I think Liz herself has acknowledged that mistakes were made. They went too far, too fast with some of the measures that were announced. I desperately wanted Liz to succeed. I'm a Conservative. I also want to deliver for my constituents. But I think now that we've seen the reaction of the markets, and also there has been a much greater debate as to the precariousness of the world economy as well as our own domestic economy, I think and I'm convinced, given the reaction of members of Parliament yesterday and the unity that people showed in uniting behind Rishi, that we will be able to move forward. You know, we're elected by our constituents to deliver, and we want to do that.
I mean, presumably you're not talking about people like Nadine Dorries, who says a general election is now necessary. Presumably you're not talking about another MP, Sir Christopher Chope, suggesting that that Rishi Sunak supporters are hyenas. Certainly not Mr Campbell Bannerman, who tweeted a picture last night of a snake on the doorstep of Number 10 with Rishi Sunak's face. This doesn't strike me as a party in the throes of unity.
No, I mean, the last chap you mentioned just then isn't a member of Parliament, but
no, he was a former MEP.
There are going to be. Look, we understand this is it's been a very, very tough 6 weeks for us as a party. Of course, the country would be saying, "Well, hang on a minute, it's been a very tough 6 weeks for us as well," which is why I think, of course, there will be some bruised feelings amongst some people. But actually, what we saw yesterday was the overwhelming majority of people coming together, understanding that we now have to focus on tackling inflation, we have to stabilise the markets, we have to try to help the Bank of England with the difficult decisions they have coming ahead of them with interest rates and so on. We have to do everything we can to stabilise the economy, because if we can do that, then we can start to deliver the vision that Rishi set out over the summer and that we will all look forward to supporting when there is a general election.
Sure. There will, however, be people watching this morning who do not simply believe what you say because of the destabilising effect that the Conservatives have latterly had on the economy. So just in terms of policy, what is Rishi Sunak going to do to deal with that £40-odd billion black hole as identified by pretty much every financial commentator I can find?
Well, at the first, I'm very, very conscious that we need to regain people's trust. And so Rishi, being the former Chancellor that he is, don't forget he set up the furlough scheme, had to deal with the nightmare of the COVID pandemic within a month of becoming Chancellor. He managed it superbly and set up
we know all of that.
What
What is he going to do about the black hole?
So in terms of the black hole, he will be getting to work immediately with the Chancellor to address these issues. You'll appreciate I'm not in the room with them in those discussions.
Indeed.
But my goodness me, we have someone in office who doesn't need lessons in how the Treasury works or whatever. He will absolutely get on with the job as soon as he walks through that great big black door.
Sure, but are there areas that should be protected? The health service, for example, the 3% on defence spending?
Well, again, Rishi has said that we stood and won an election in 2019 on that manifesto, and he wants to stick to that manifesto. And that seems to me absolutely the right way forward. And so we're committed, completely committed to the NHS. We know that this winter is going to be a very difficult one for a whole host of reasons, not least the backlogs that accumulated during as a result of the pandemic, but also with defence. He's been very, very clear that, for example, we will continue to do everything we need to do, not just to defend our country, but also to help Ukraine in particular, which, of course, that war, that dreadful war in Ukraine, is some of the reason for some of the economic turmoil that the whole world is seeing as a result of energy prices escalating.
But we are going to be entering into, aren't we, a period of austerity, and it will be a period of austerity in which we have a Prime Minister who, via marriage, is a billionaire. So when Rishi Sunak stands up and says that there isn't going to be any money to give nurses to put their salaries up, that there isn't going to be money to pay for school repairs or perhaps even some COVID-compliant ventilation going on in there, it will be a billionaire saying so. How do you think the public will react to that?
So if I can just step back a little bit from that, because as I say, it wouldn't be right for me to appear, even by inference, to confirm what you're saying in that question. I think we've got to give Rishi and the Chancellor a bit of time and space to work out the plans. Where, you know, Rishi very much wants the A statement to go ahead on the 31st of October, but decisions will be made on that. We've got to take this step by step. In terms of how Rishi speaks to the public, communicates with the public, relates to the public, I think we saw it again in the pandemic. You know, I'm not asking you to imagine that he's good at this. We know he's good at this because we've seen it as we were all huddled around our televisions during lockdown and were reassured by Rishi saying, this is what I'm going to do for you. We're going to put our arms around you. And so I'm very, very confident that we will see more of Rishi in that mode, if you like, reassuring us, stabilising the markets. And it is notable, by the way, the reaction of the markets over the last 24 hours. I think that, again, gives us some small grounds for optimism. And so I think stabilising the markets, tackling inflation, because as Rishi said throughout the summer, that is the killer with a lot of this. You know, if we've got food inflation, if we've got wage inflation, these are all difficult issues. And Rishi has the experience and the expertise to deal with this.
All of which makes whoever he puts around the cabinet table with him incredibly important, particularly, of course, the job in number 11. He's talked about building a government of all the talent. What do you understand him to mean by that? I mean, are we basically now going to be about to see a member of the ERG sitting around the cabinet table?
Well, look, I think we have an enormous range of talents across the party. I'm not going to name names, if you'll forgive me, because I don't want to make enemies at 7 o'clock in the morning. But by
fair enough.
But we have a huge range of talent across the party, and I think one of the sadnesses of perhaps the last 6 weeks was that not all of that talent was really used and really exploited, if you like, by the previous administration. So I'm really looking forward to some excellent colleagues, and we've got a huge range of experience in teaching, police, and so on across the board. I'd love to see some of that expertise and experience come into our government, so that we're shaping policies and delivering policies that really make a difference for our country.
Make the case then, if you can, for the country not being given a vote on what is, you know, the third Prime Minister we've had in, you know, a handful of months. Why is now not the right time? I mean, you've gone through the decision-making process now twice internally within the Conservative Party. Yeah. By your own admission, you got it wrong the first time. You know, you're keeping your fingers crossed on this one. I mean, why not?
A little more than that, Neil. Forgive me, a little more than that. I'm very confident about this administration. In terms of the mandate, I think there are two primary reasons. First of all, it's completely practical, which is, my goodness me, we have got a lot to deal with at the moment. We have to stabilise the markets. We have to stabilise the economy. We have to ensure, for example, that the energy price guarantee that Liz introduced, that's a phenomenal package.
I mean, that would make sense. That would make sense.
We've got to deliver.
Sorry, that would make sense if the first thing that Rishi Sunak said to his MPs was not unite or die. I mean, this is all about the existential crisis that the Conservative Party is facing. It's nothing to do with the country.
No. And the second reason, if I may, for the question about an election, and forgive me, this is a bit of sort of constitutional law in the middle of the beginning of the morning for people who've just woken up. But we elect a party. You know, it's a Conservative manifesto in 2019. We don't have a presidential system, and I am responsible and I am representative of my constituents, but I'm also accountable to them. So we stood on that manifesto, we deliver it, and of course in Parliament it is the...
Liz Truss did not deliver the 2019 manifesto.
Who can command a majority, and His Majesty the King will invite that person to deliver a government. Look, I think Liz would accept that she stepped away from the 2019 manifesto. There were particular policy
that's my
issues
point. Why should we now believe you that Rishi Sunak will not? I mean,
Because
we've literally
Rishi
just, the last Prime Minister that was in post for 7 weeks said exactly the same thing. You know, here's my plan, put it to the country. But so what's the difference? I mean, you've already shown that the Conservative Party cannot be trusted to the 2019 manifesto commitments with the last, current Prime Minister.
Because Rishi said we will stick to the 2019 manifesto. It's as simple as that. So, we will continue to see the focus on levelling up. We'll continue to see the focus on the NHS, on security. My own personal area of sort of expertise and interest, if you will, is supporting violence, tackling violence against women and girls, supporting victims of domestic abuse and so on. We want to continue all of these pieces of work as we deal with this very, very difficult issue of our domestic economy in the context of the international problems that other countries are facing as well. So, look, I appreciate that it's been a pretty, it's been a brutal 6 weeks in politics for lots of people. It's been a very, very fast pace. But we now, behind Rishi, will have a stability and confidence and reassurance that I hope will begin to make a real difference to people's lives over the coming weeks and months.
I know I've got to let you go, but I can't let you go without this cheeky little question at the end. Have you got a job?
No. Well, other than submitting myself to your cross-examination at 7 o'clock in the morning. There we go.
Yeah, indeed. OK. Victoria Atkins, lovely to have you on the programme. Take care.
Thank you so much. Take care.